Did you go add in another? Try.
Good evening, everyone. We are just waiting for some more students to join in. So we'll be starting the session in 5 minutes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar with us today. My name is Saurabh Taluja. I'm the head of admissions with Hayden and Renault. Most of you would be aware that Hayden and Not is already associated with APJ school system for the last 2 years. In this 2 year span, we have been able to connect with the students across multiple platforms like career fairs. We have conducted various seminars with our students. And in fact, we have been able to connect with the students on various individual counseling sessions, apart from ensuring that we are able to give a proper plan to our students with respect to their university abroad plan. Today will be introducing you to our students Manav, Yukti, and Kevina, who have got admits from top universities, and they will be sharing their experiences with you regarding their admissions process, how they ended up planning the college applications, about their courses. Just to share the flow of the webinar, we will be allowing all of you to put question and answers on the Q&A section, and I'll try to answer the questions while we are going through the session, and obviously we'll also help let Manav, Yukti, and Kevina to answer the questions. And in case anybody has a lot of questions and they want to speak to them individually, then that will be happening after we end this session. Like, we'll allow everybody to raise hands and then they can ask questions after the students have covered their experiences. So to begin with, we have Manav with us. So just to give you a little background about Manav. So Manav joined our admissions program in grade 11, and he started with his SAT program, and in which he scored 1360. As far as his background is concerned, so Manav is an alumni of APJ School Faridabad. His tenure at the APJ school system, he has been favorite among students and teachers and was appointed as a head boy of the school. He's an active golf player and have been playing golf since his early age. Apart from that, Manav has also been very active in social work and other activities in the school system. As a part of his application process, he applied to multiple colleges and ended up receiving more than eight offers from University of Illinois Chicago, from Iowa State, British Columbia, University of California, for his bachelor's in computer science program. Finally, Manav is now planning to join University of British Columbia, and it's one of the top universities for computer science program. HNR team congratulates Manav on receiving this offer from one of the top universities, and I would now request Manav to share his experience and admissions journey with us. Over to you, Manav.
Hi, sir. Thank you, sir. So, as most of you know now, my name's Manav, as sir introduced me. So, yeah, I'm an alumni from ABJ School Faridabad, and I joined Hayden and Not when I was in grade 11th, and they really helped me with through the SAT and ACT and IELTS and all of that. So, one of the things that was very interesting for me is that I gave both ACT and SAT under them, and my personal experience, SAT was something that agreed with me because it's more of a pen and paper kind of a thing, and that is what I liked. And there's another thing for some of you guys might be into sports, like I'm a national level golfer. So yeah, they really helped me go through my sporting desires in college, and I'll be playing for the University of British Columbia golf team once I go there. And so yeah, they really gave me a lot of opportunities, and in the end I actually got a lot of yeses from everywhere. I got my applications. Yeah, so like Boston University and University of Illinois and all. So yeah, in the end, I'll just like to say that I'm really grateful to Saurav sir and all the teachers that were there, that really helped me through the process, because whenever I wanted to, they were there, they were ready, and they really taught me everything about SAT and all that I know. So thank you.
Sharing that you planned the process very early in the stage. So just wanted to like share your experience, like how did you ended up managing the academics with your golf? And basically, a lot of students come to us during grade 12, and we want to really stress the importance of starting the process early. So how do you really think that starting the process early helped you in achieving the desired college options?
Yes, so uh, of course, I had like 2 years to plan myself, and first of all, SAT and all is not a very easy thing to do. So it requires a lot of time. I gave myself 3 attempts, and starting early allowed me the privilege to give more than one attempt. And for IELTS and also, it's a planning thing. So you actually need some time so that you can time yourself well. So I think starting early really gave me that advantage. And I had the time to try stuff, to try ACT, to try SAT, and it was easier for me to manage myself with the school studies, with the school, and once I started early. So yeah.
All right. Uh, Considering that we have Kevina with us right now, so Kevina, what is your thought like? Considering that you also ended up taking the ACTs and SATs with us, and you also started the process during grade 11. So what?
So sorry, I cannot hear you.
I'll just introduce Kevina to everybody. So Kevina is an alumni of APJ School Pitampura, and she was looking forward for a business management program. And she also started the process during grade 11th. Uh, from all this, from grade 9th onwards, she has been absolutely consistent in her academic performance, and that was kind of reflective in her SATs as well as the ACT scores and also her academic scores, which enabled her to get the top universities. Not only she received offer from one of the top universities in Canada, but other places also. So her offers were from University of Alberta, Radboud University, University of Reading, York University, University of Toronto, University of Bath. And finally, she is already at the campus, and from there, she is actually live with us. So Kevin, I just wanted to actually have your view, like considering you also joined us in grade 11. So how was your experience and just a little overview about your ACT and SAT plan and how you manage everything?
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for introducing me. And a very good evening to all the students and teachers present over here. I would like to really thank Hayden and Renaud for giving me the opportunity to speak over here and share my experience, and plus helping me reach where I am today. So, as sir introduced me, I'm Kevina Singhal from EPJ School Pitampura and alumni. And I just reached the campus like 15 days back, the University of Manchester, and my course is BSc Management with Industrial and Professional Experience. So the whole journey has been 2 years long, as sir told us. I joined Hayden and Not in grade 11th. It is really important to start the process early because it gives you time to plan everything and meet the deadlines. Plus, if you are giving ACT and SAT, you have to give multiple attempts. Even I gave ACT and I gave like 2 attempts, and the second time was the time when I got satisfied with my score. So if you start early, it will give you a privilege of giving the multiple attempts and meeting the deadlines. So even though I joined in the 11th standard, I couldn't meet the deadlines of the US universities. So that tells us that it is really important to start the process very early. So first of all, when you are deciding to go abroad, the first thing is uh, basically it's not like you just need to leave your country. If you want a better education and you are looking for a particular university or a particular level of education, and then you decide you want to go abroad, that can be considered a good decision. Plus, when I was deciding to go for undergraduation to abroad, many people told me that, go for post graduation instead of going for undergraduation. But then what I realized was, even if I stay for 4 more years or 5 more years with my parents, I'm going to be the same person, the same dependent person, the same slightly mature person, and nothing will change. And I'll face the same problems even if I go for my post graduation. So that made me decide to go abroad for undergraduation. Plus, coming over here, I realized that it's really about choices, because there is nobody over here to tell me to do something or not to do something. Even the university does not tell students what to do and what not to do, because it's your own choices, and then you're wholly responsible for your own choices. If we talk about ACT and SAT, basically you should choose the exam whose pattern suits you, the subjects suits you, because in SAT basically you have English and mathematics, but in ACT you have a little bit of science. And that's why I took the ACT, because it took away the stress from English and put it towards science also. And you have to give one exam out of ACT and SAT, but all the universities do not require this. The University of Manchester did not require the ACT, even though I gave it. but you need to give the IELTS or TOEFL, one exam out of that, because that is required for the English language, uh, uh, to uh, to satisfy the English language over there. Plus, if we talk about the second thing you need to do after giving these exams, that is ACT or SAT and IELTS or TOEFL, you need to select the universities, and before that, select the country where you want to apply. It's really important. You need to consider things like the weather over there, the culture over there, or many things you have to consider. Then you decide the country and then the universities, because you can apply only to few universities. The process is really tough, and then it's different overall the universities. So the application process, and then writing SOPs, statements of purpose, where you describe how can you be an asset to the university, what values you bring forward to the university, and then you work on the visa and everything, and then you reach the campus. uh, but again, I want to focus on the thing that it's really important that you start the process early, so that you meet the deadlines, and because you have to manage your school studies also along with that. So do start the process early, maybe in the 11th standard. And I hope all of you have a wonderful life ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevina, for such a wonderful explanation of the entire program. Uh, so we have with us Yukti also on the session. So now the reason why we have got Yukti on the session, so it's this: she's a student of APJ Noida, and she has really enjoyed her school life during her tenure at the school system. The interesting part about Yukti is that she just applied to one college, which is the DPOR college, and right from the beginning when she approached us, she was very much particular about the liberal arts program. Uh, Coming across as a very focused student was very interesting for us to know that, I mean, rarely you find students that who are not looking at multiple colleges and just looking at a single college application. And her extensive focus in that direction actually ensured that not only she receives an admit, but also a scholarship of $100,000 is something that she achieved. So Yukti, I have just one small question. Like, although you came to us in grade 12th, how was your process of deciding this college? We do understand that your father actually contributed a lot to your decision, but still, we would also want to know from your end that how did you ended up deciding this college? Yukti, are you there? Just, I believe there is some problem with her session. Yukti, are we audible? I'll ask one of my team member to connect with Yukti. All right. So just one small thing that I would like to know from both of you, like Kevin and Manav. So how was your process of shortlisting? Like, we do understand that there are multiple colleges and there are multiple colleges across various countries. So you guys both have applied to multiple universities in UK and US and Canada. So right after receiving the offer from the universities, how important do you think is shortlisting process, considering that we should be looking at more college applications or less college applications? So what's your take on that? So Manav, like, I would like to know from your side that you also actually had a lot of applications going in. So what is your take on that? Manav, am I audible?
Oh yeah. Sorry, sir. I just my Wi-Fi got unstable. Can you repeat your question, sir, please?
Yeah, so I was saying that considering that both you and Kevin are actually applied to multiple colleges at the same time, so I just wanted to know, like, the importance of shortlisting. Like, do you think that applying to more colleges is a good idea, or one should look at a more streamlined approach?
So, talking straightly through what my experience was, because I actually had golf in the equation. So I applied to all the places where I had an opportunity to play. And also secondly, the academics was a very big issue for me, because I actually did not shortlist any colleges from beginning. I was like, jahan pe bhi ho jaye. I came in with a lot of with an open mind and thing. So I think with my perspective, I think a lot of colleges gives you a lot of options in the end, and you have the luxury to choose what college you want to go to. But I mean, even one college, if you are really uh, determined to going into one college, then I think that will work for you too. I mean,
Okay.
certainly, I found it well to have applied in many places.
Okay. How about you, Kavina? So do you think more college applications are is better, or one should look at a limited set of colleges?
So I think first the first thing is that you need to select the country, and then you need to look at which university provides the best education for that particular subject you are looking for. But then do not apply to a large number of universities, because it's difficult to handle all the deadlines and meet the specifications of each university. So apply to a limited number of universities, but do consider that you are applying to universities at different levels. So for example, if you do not get the admission in the most prestigious university, maybe you'll get in the next best. So do apply at different levels.
All right. The thing is that I believe both of you have actually explained everything in a pretty fine manner. I would just want everybody to ask questions. If anybody has any questions, you can raise the hand, and we can ask You can ask questions from the students, or I mean, if I'll be also more than happy to answer any question. Uh, just to give you a little more background about us, so as a company, we are actually assisting students with the end-to-end process, right from applications to helping the students with the SAT and the ACT preparations. Uh, as far as the applications is concerned, like Kevina mentioned, that it's an extensive process, right from ensuring that the shortlisting is done absolutely correct, because if the shortlisting is done in an incorrect manner, then obviously the outcomes won't be relevant to the requirement. And when I say shortlisting, it doesn't mean that one has to just look at the top ranked colleges. There are other factors like the financial, academic, the standardized test that the students needs to consider while deciding the colleges. Uh, in both the cases, like the students started early during grade 11, the only advantage that everybody gets is to manage your school academic rigor as well as the application plan. So a lot of us do understand that 11th is a very very tough class, and 12th in itself is a very big priority for a lot of students. So I would recommend everybody that who is on the session to kind of ensure that you plan to start the process early. So we have David with us. So one sec. David, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask like how much, what was your percentage? Like, do they consider the ninth and 11th standard percentages? Like, how much did you get?
The question is for Manav or Kevin?
To both.
Okay, so can you share your percentages of ninth and 11th, and what was the
Um,
important?
I think they consider your marks from ninth standard onwards, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. They do consider how consistent you were, so do work hard from ninth standard. My ninth standard, I got a CGPA something. I got 9.8, and in 11th standard, my percentage was 85%, because in 11th you do not get really high marks from school.
Yeah.
How about you,
So
Manav?
yeah, so like Kevin said, they look at marks from 9th to 12th. So try and be consistent as much as you can from 9th to 12th. So yeah, so my marks in ninth were I got a CGPA of 9.2 in ninth, and in 11th I got an 80% in non-medical. That is pretty much okay.
Mm.
All right. I have a question here. So, can you give me more information about applying for scholarships? So, just for everybody's information, so scholarships are definitely available, and there is always a way to work on scholarship. But believe me, considering that you have two students who have extremely good academic percentages, and you're not just competing with the students from India, you're competing with the students from all over the world. So one has to be very, very mindful of the finances while applying to the universities. We do try and approach scholarships, but then definitely there are no assurances that one can get on scholarship, because it's purely dependent on the college set that we are considering at the time of application, and how much your profile matches with that colleges that we are looking at. As far as the how much scholarship is available, there are colleges with 15, 20, 30, 50, and 100% scholarship. It's just that if somebody comes to us with a very budget constraint approach, then we will also have to be very, very particular about picking up colleges which are willing to give you scholarships at the credentials that students have. So yes, scholarship applying for scholarships and applying for admissions can be very, very different. For the top schools, admissions is a very, very big challenge in itself, leave apart scholarships. So first is to consider admissions, and then scholarships will definitely come through as a part of the process once we start shortlisting the right colleges. Uh, so interesting question for both of you. So how many hours you guys studied to, I mean, on an average during your school days? So it's a question from a ninth grade student, but yeah, you can answer in general. So Kevin or Manav, who would you, any one of you can answer this question.
So I think there is no particular time, like I didn't ever consider a count number of hours I used to study in a day, but it was more of completing the goal of the day or the goal of particular subject. So it was not particularly about how many hours you study. It's about how much focused you are, and how what is the outcome of what you study. It's not the number of hours.
So yeah, so talking about me, I actually did mark how many hours I did a day. So to start with, like with the classes and all, I did a 1 hour or 2 hour class with Hayden and Anod and all. And then I went home and I made a point that I'll do SAT for at least an hour or 2 hours in a day. If you get an hour or a 2 hour in a day with your, like, if you start from 11th, you can still manage an hour or 2 hours a day. Uh, every day. And when the last month comes in, just before the exam, I used to do, like, I did like 1 hour, one day I did like 10 hours of SAT and all. It's all about doing papers at one time. So yeah, so in last month, I just sat in, and it was 3 4 hour paper, and I used to do 3 4 papers that would count for like 10 hours. So it really depends, but what I'll say is try and do 1 or 2 hours daily. If you are starting from 11th, you have the luxury to do that. But if you're starting from 12th, then you have to pick up your pace and at least do 3 or 4 hours a day. It really depends on what time you're giving the exam. But try and do SAT every day is what I'll end up with.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for answering the question. So there is one more question from the student. According to him, like both of you mentioned that, I mean, yes, both of you started the process early, and there's this thing that we have been always mentioning in the session that we should start the process early. So according to the student who is in grade 11th right now, Mazen Sheikh, he's asking that he's in grade 11th right now. So what is the ideal time to give the standardized test, SATs or ACTs? So just your take on that. So Kevina, can you tell me like how, when, which I think you attempted SAT in grade 11th once,
No,
right?
I just gave the ACT. I gave first attempt of my ACT in 11th standard and the second in 12th standard. So I don't think I did the correct thing. You should have. One should start at the in the first, like, first few days of the 11th standard. Give actually first attempt in the starting of your 11th standard, and then another attempt at the end of the 11th standard, because these are ACT and SAT are actually uh, they are valid for like 4 or 5 years, so you can give them early. But IELTS is valid for 2 years, so I would suggest that give IELTS in 12th standard, but ACT or SAT in 11th standard.
So yeah, what I'll say is that study first, and then, because there is if you're done with the studies anytime you are, just go and give it. I'll say that one attempt in 11th is nice. And I know that there's a lot of pressure in 11 to start with and all. So what I did was that I gave my first attempt after my midterms and all, the area where I had a little bit of free time. And just the only thing is study before you give it, because it's not easy. It's not something that you can just get up and give. So just try and study before you give it. And one attempt in 11th, I think, is good enough. And then once you know what the pattern is, then you can study harder and give a second attempt and uh, ace it, is what I'll say.
So yeah, I would kind of agree to both of them. So just to add to that, so you have 4 attempts for SAT in a year and 5 attempts for ACT. So the scores are valid for 5 years. So 11th is definitely the time that one should plan the SATs, and Considering the current situation, the students generally have December SATs, and then the next attempt is available in the month of May, and then the subsequent is very close to your midterm of grade 12th. So December of grade 11th and the May of grade 12th is supposed to be the most ideal time, as you have maximum time to prepare. Also, the students who are in grade 10th can also plan the SATs or the ACTs, considering that the scores are valid for 5 years. So starting early won't do any harm. In fact, it will give a if it will put the students in a better position, because then you have a score in hand, and the only thing left is to plan your college applications, which can be done easily during grade 11th. So yes, 11th, if you're a student of grade 11th, definitely go for it. And if you are a student of grade 10th, you can all use grade 10th can also plan for the same. And 12th students, so they are any which way at the stage of doing the applications, with their last attempt being available in December. So yeah. uh I, we have, so what about extracurricular activities? So do universities ask for extra thing except for academic standardized test scores? So I believe, so Manav, like you had extracurricular activities in the school level. I have mentioned it in your profile also. So just wanted to know, understand, like how important were they for you?
Yeah. So extracurricular activities are, I won't say at par with academics, but they are quite close. See, because they are not looking for a just for an academic student. They're looking for a student who'll fulfill their basically the university culture. They're looking for exciting individuals that'll come there and pump the place up. So you need extracurricular activities, that'll make your application stand out. Like for me, I did a lot of extracurricular activities because I really didn't want to leave any stone unturned. I did MUNs, I did robotics. I actually went for the national level robotics through school, and APJ gives us a lot of opportunities to do extracurricular. Of course, I had golf and all. So I actually tried to do everything I can, and it's really nice if you have a lot of things in your resume, because your resume looks pretty much a lot with a lot of stuff. It looks better. You stand out because there are not just you are applying every there's a lot of students around the world who are applying to the same university for the same spot, and you will have to have something that makes you apart from the other one. And I think extracurricular activities or sports or something like a music or a dance kind of thing gets you that advantage over other people, because that is what makes your personality different from others.
Right. Kevin, what's your take on this extracurricular bit?
Um, so I was actually not very active when it comes to non-academic uh, things, and I was not really active over there. But I think it's really important that you focus on non-academics, because university, as Manav said, that yes, it might not be at par as in importance as academics, but then university is not looking for how you score when it comes to exams, but they want to know what kind of a personality, what kind of a individual you are, and that cannot be completed only on the basis of marks you score. So you have to be good at something else that actually tells what kind of values you bring to the university.
So, in order to add, like I'll add to both the comments that the students have shared with us. So, extracurricular activities is a kind of a question which is very subjective to the kind of colleges that you're selecting. So, with respect to Kevina, she was looking at Canada and UK, which are more academic heavy countries, whereas Manav was also focusing on US, which is a country which is focusing a lot on extracurriculars. So yes, we do recommend that you should have extracurricular activities, but definitely not at the cost of academics and not at the cost of your SATs, ACTs. Having a holistic profile is important, but a lot of things are also uh, relevant to the kind of college applications that the students are planning to do. So if a student is planning for a UK application, it's more of an academic heavy application. Whereas if somebody is looking at, let's say, Canada or US, there can be so Canada requires a certain element of extracurriculars, whereas US requires a lot more extracurriculars as compared to any other country. So I would say that it's important part of it. One should try and add as many extracurriculars as possible, but then also make sure that your college application plan is taken into account while making the extracurricular activity plan. Uh, we have been able to answer most of the questions of the students. Yeah, Kevin, you want to add something?
No, sir.
Uh, Anybody has any questions related from the students, and anybody who is looking to apply, wants to understand the experiences, you feel free to ask right now, because we don't get the opportunity to call the students uh, on the sessions. They will be extremely busy after that. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Uh, Somebody actually mentioned on the session regarding the information for the standardized test. So we do prepare students for the standardized test. Uh, the time required to prepare for these tests is definitely a minimum of 3 to 3.5 months. But then again, it is also dependent on the aptitude of the student, how the student is investing time, and obviously the timeline of the test is very, very important. So one has to be very mindful of the dates of the test while planning the preparation for it. Uh, so another question: in grade 12th, when did you start applying? So David, I'll answer your question. So they both started applying to the colleges way before the application timeline. So considering they both were in grade approached us in grade 11, so we started looking into the college plan from beginning of grade 12. Yes, a lot of things were still pending to the last moment, but then uh, that's a part of the process wherein certain elements can be done only after we have the midterm scores, because your predicted scores are dependent on the midterm scores. So with respect to when you start the when is the good time to start is grade 11th, but during the beginning of grade 12 we can start finalizing the colleges and we can start working on the essays, and August, September, October is the time when you start filling the application forms. So okay, so this is an interesting question. So Kevin, considering you are part of the campus, and Manav, you are about to join the campus in the coming months. So um, Kevin, just a question, like, do you see the impact of pandemic which is going on? I mean, considering that you're now part of the campus.
So actually, when I came over here, I had to quarantine for 14 days, considering I came from India, and that is not an exempt country for UK. So I had to quarantine for 14 days, and also my flatmates tested positive. Four were positive, so I actually had to extend 1 or 2 days extra for the quarantine. But then we could go out to get the deliveries and things that we cannot get delivered to our room. So I did go out to get some groceries and things that I couldn't get delivered, but then I did not go out for many other things. As we consider the UK, people are actually going out in the city and they use the mask, but then we cannot see the roads are not really empty. People are going out and the economy is working over here.
Yeah,
Uh,
about me, because I've already started with my college, but it's all online, so it's like really heavy on my. The impact is really heavy because I haven't started with my college experience as of, because I have started with my midterms and all in my university, but I haven't been to the university yet. So yeah, the impact is really heavy on considering I have not got the college life I was promised.
all right. So we do have Canadian visas getting open, so probably we'll soon see Manav joining the campus. So, but then the situation is such that one has to go with the flow and understand the situation and then work accordingly. So somebody asked, like, I have heard that SAT is not compulsory for admission. Is it true? So currently, the students who are currently in grade 12, probably they are the ones who are getting some benefit of not appearing for SATs. But I don't think that will be the case in the next year, because this is just a waiver which was given taking into account that SAT got cancelled multiple times, and also taking into account that a lot of places are there where students don't have an option to appear for SAT. So there are SAT optional universities, and there are colleges in Canada and UK who are not asking for SAT. But with respect to US, it is still playing a very important role. Uh, can you show the resume of Manav once again? So I have this thing. So I'll share the resume of Manav. I have it in my email. It's the what I've shared is a very it's an overview of his resume. It's a far more detailed resume. So I would request. I mean, I don't know the name of anonymous attendee. You can share your email ID or you can drop an email on admissions@heyre.com and he'll share his resume with you. You'll be able to understand the kind of effort he has invested on himself to build up his profile. What about expenses? So, like I said, the college cost vary from as low as 40, 50 lakhs to as high as 2 crores. And this was a challenge which we definitely faced with Kevina, because there were a lot of discussions that we did, like what kind of college we should select, what about the return on investment. So there were a lot of conversations that happened. In fact, we also kept in mind that like if a certain cost is getting incurred on a program, what are the outcomes of that program. And Manchester, I mean, I think Kevin and Manchester has an option of a placement program or something. Do they
Yes,
have
sir.
any?
I my course is actually with the industrial or professional experience. So actually, it's a 4-year course. But in the third year, I have a work placement where I will work, and then again the fourth year I have to study.
So somebody had a question regarding the admission process in Germany. I have put the number on the screen with an email ID. I would request you to kind of reach out to us, and we will definitely be able to assist you with the German admissions process. Um, how to approach you? I have already put it on this group. So some again the admissions process for European countries. So again, it can be a discussion which can be taken offline. You can reach out to us and we can help you to understand the application process for European colleges. So somebody has a question like the student will appear for 10th board in 2021. Considering the what official would things need to be done in 2020, 21 and 22. So for a student who is appearing in 10th board in 2021, uh, can also plan the process right now, because anybody who's looking at a top school, top university across any of the country would require to appear for certain entrance exams. If the student is looking at, let's say, Oxford or Cambridge or Imperial College London, they also have to give some entrance exams. And as far as somebody who's in grade 10th having, we just recommend that you, for now, you just look at the SAT prep, because by the time you enter grade 11th, you would be able to understand the kind of streams you can pursue. We can help you to read through the curriculum so that you understand what is covered in computer science, or whether you should take a sciences or a commerce. So we as far as somebody who is in grade 10, the only recommendation we have is that they can just prepare for SATs for now, and at a later stage we can give them some understanding of the colleges and universities so that they are well prepared for their applications during grade 11th and 12th. I have so we have answered most of the questions which are there in the Q&A and the chat section. If anybody still has any questions, you can raise your hand. As far as the Q&A section is concerned, I have answered most of the questions which are in the Q&A and the chat section. Uh, all right. So, I think. All right. So I think we have answered most of the questions for the students who are currently on the session. In case anybody wants to kind of discuss anything in person, or want to discuss the profile in a very customized manner, feel free to reach out on the email ID which is mentioned or the number, and we will be more than happy to offer you an individual counseling session. And thank you, Kevina. Thank you, Mana, for sparing time for this session, and we'll hope to connect once again in future. In case you guys still need any help from us, we are available for the assistance. Mana's sister is also looking to apply abroad, so we are already in touch with her, I believe. So hopefully we'll be able to do justice to her application.
Talk about starting early. She's in ninth.
Yeah, I remember she's in grade 9th. So thank you once again, and thank you everyone for joining the session. And we look forward to meet everybody individually and have a session with everyone individually. Thank you once again. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.